Christina? Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Feinstein. I am a communications and media consultant with the Whiteman Airport Coalition. Thank you all for coming here this morning. We appreciate it. I'm here with current and former members of the Los Angeles County Aviation Commission who are coming forward after years of concern. First, we want to stress that Whiteman Airport is safe. They are going to speak out today about what they've been seeing involving Whiteman Airport and the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. It's a pattern of repeated warnings and a failure to act, and frankly, the waste of taxpayer money. We will have a short presentation today, which I will share with you all immediately afterward via email. So put your emails in the chat if I don't have them already, if you've not emailed me directly. But before we begin that presentation, I will let the current and former members of the commission introduce themselves, starting with Christina Pascucci.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and hear this perspective. You may know me in my role as a TV journalist here locally in Los Angeles. I'm also a licensed pilot, and many may not realize I also spent 7 years as a commissioner on the Los Angeles County Aviation Commission, including as chair. My role there was to advise the county supervisors on issues related to the airports within the county system. There are 5 of them. And today I am founder and CEO of Atlas. It's a consultancy at the intersection of media and policy. And we're really proud to be working with the Whiteman Airport Coalition to make sure that we get answers that the community and airport stakeholders have long deserved. Dennis, I'll throw it to you.
Thank you, Christina. Dennis Lord. I have served on the LA County Aviation Commission for the past 23 years as of March. I have a long history of community engagement as a government and public affairs manager for SoCalGas for nearly 50 years, 27 of that in that position. I represent Compton Airport for Supervisor Holly Mitchell, but also have like I said, a strong background in community engagement, handling 24 cities and communities for SoCalGas. Kurt?
You're on mute.
Good morning. Thanks, Christina. Thanks, Dennis. Kurt Castagna. Today I'm speaking to you on behalf of the NATA, the National Air Transportation Board safety organization based in Washington, D.C. We're an advocacy group representing about 3,800 aviation businesses across the country, air charter, fixed-based operators, and several hundred airports. Proud to be here today as, much like Christina and Dennis, I spent 2 terms on the LA County Commission, most recently serving from 2017 to 2024, and representative was appointed by Supervisor Hahn, representing her district. Enjoyed that time. I think there's a strong message here on preserving the Whiteman Airport as part of a system of airports in the region, and look forward to your questions, and thank you for being here.
Thank you all. Okay, Olson, let's start our slideshow. So it's important how we got here and the background on Whiteman Airport. Whiteman Airport is a county-owned airport. The county's owned it since 1970, but it comes with federal obligations. So what does that mean? In 1998, Los Angeles County accepted FAA funding through the Airport Improvement Program to acquire land near the runway for safety purposes. Whiteman is subject to federal grant assurances tied to that funding. These require the county to maintain the airport for aviation use, maintain upkeep and safety. It also limits the ability to close or repurpose the property without FAA approval. These are not optional guidelines. They are binding, enforceable requirements with significant legal and financial consequences if violated. At the same time, there has been a freeze on pursuing FAA-funded capital improvements at Whiteman. In 2024, the Board of Supervisors voted to move forward with a $1.9 million taxpayer-funded study on closing the airport, despite knowing these federal obligations. Next slide. Many stakeholders and community members do not understand how that happened. What you're looking at here is the county's own public works report called the White Paper. This was done in 2020. This is the county's own analysis of Whiteman Airport, and it makes three things clear. Next slide. They said Whiteman Airport is federally obligated, and those obligations can be long-term, even perpetual. Second, the county is responsible for maintaining the airport in a safe condition. And third, the airport closing the airport would be difficult, would require FAA approval, and carry out legal and financial consequences. Next slide. In May of 2022, national aviation leaders warned Congress members and the Board of Supervisors that restricting operations at Whiteman Airport would violate federal and FAA grant assurances. This was in response to Congressman Tony Cardenas asking the feds and the county to shut down Whiteman Airport following a crash involving a pilot on the 210 freeway in Sylmar. Next slide. Just a few months later, in June 2022, in a letter to Congressman Cardenas, the then chair of the LA County Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Holly Mitchell, acknowledged that the county does not have the authority to close the airport without FAA approval, and said the county is responsible for maintaining the safety and upkeep of Whiteman. This is important because Mitchell and 4 other supervisors would eventually vote to approve the study of the closure of Whiteman, and this would cost taxpayers millions. Next slide. In April of 2023, members of the Los Angeles County Aviation Commission raised concerns about power lines near Whiteman Airport's runway approach, including the need to underground utilities to improve safety. Those concerns were communicated to Supervisor Lindsay Horvath's office, including senior infrastructure leadership, Maria Chong Castillo, who oversees capital projects for the 3rd District. The issue was acknowledged, but there was never any follow-up. Next slide. October 2024, major national aviation organizations again warned the board that Whiteman carries ongoing federal obligations to remain open. They cautioned that violating those obligations could trigger legal, financial, and safety consequences, including potential sanctions to funding for other county airports. They also urged the county to invest in safety improvements to Whiteman instead of spending $1.9 million of taxpayer money on the closure study. Next slide. Just a few months ago, in January 2026, the FAA sent a letter to the county telling them that the FAA, that land purchase with federal funds create obligations that do not expire. They are perpetual, and Whiteman Airport must continue operating unless formally released by the FAA. Yet the study to this day remains ongoing. So this raises 3 straightforward questions. Next slide. Why is the county studying closure at all when the FAA has ultimate authority? Second, Whiteman supports firefighting, medical, and disaster response. What replaces this infrastructure in a region with year-round fire risks? And third, why are known safety and modernization improvements not being pursued when federal funding is available, especially when 2028 Olympics is just around the corner? Now, Christina Pascucci wants to say a few words about the recent accident in the community before we open it up to questions.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you for laying all of that out. First off, I want to talk about last week. We witnessed a horrible accident, and our thoughts are with that pilot who's recovering, his family, and also the entire community. I want to make clear that in all of this, we're not here to say that Whiteman Airport is currently unsafe. What we are saying is that if elected officials continue to suffocate the airport from resources it really needs, we are afraid there could be serious long-term consequences. And that's why we're here today, because we want to stop that. After last week's incident, Supervisor Lindsay Horvath sent out a press release saying that she was looking into everything she could do to make the airport more safe. And We're really happy to hear that because we agree we should do everything possible within our power to make sure our airports are as safe as they can be. So it was really surprising to discover that for years, LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath has frozen federal funding that would go toward making safety improvements to Whiteman Airport. Things like improving the runway, downing or undergrounding power lines. In 2024, she even sent out a press release touting that she was freezing federal funds as if it was a badge of honor. So she's talked about this. And I want to be really clear that rejecting money, millions of dollars in safety improvements that's available right now for our local airport at Whiteman is reckless. We also think that as commissioners, it's really, really important to listen to what the community wants. And we really try to do that during our tenure and currently for Commissioner Lord. And it's really important to point out that every single neighborhood council, including Pacoima just this month, has supported to keep Whiteman Airport open. Why do they support it? They see it as a critical piece of infrastructure for public safety, for fighting fires. They see it as a first line of defense and emergency response. After the Northridge earthquake, it was a staging location. Do we need another Northridge earthquake to see the critical role that Whiteman Airport plays in public safety? Also, something that people don't realize, perhaps, is that 13,000 kids in the region have been offered and given free flights at Whiteman Airport through the Young Eagles program. They've been exposed to STEM opportunities. Also, Whiteman Airport has one of the most affordable flight schools in the entire country, which increases access to aviation. As commissioners, we've been asking questions that have gone ignored for years. Like, one example of that is, why would you want to spend millions of dollars in taxpayer funds to study closing an airport that legally you cannot close? Today, we are here because we are calling on Supervisor Horvath to lift the years-long freezing of federal funds so that important safety improvements can be made to Whiteman Airport as soon as possible. Thank you so much.
Okay, now is the time for question and answer. And Olson, what is the easiest way to do this?
So if attendees just want to click the raise hand button, I can bring you as a panelist, so you'll be on camera and unmuted, and you'll be able to ask questions.
Okay. Any folks have questions?
Not seeing any hands up yet in the attendee panel.
If I may provide a little additional information from Christina's comments, the airport improvement program federal funds are those monies come through various taxes that are collected and reallocated and distributed back to airports across the country. LA County has 5 airports. All of those 5 airports participate in and have participated in the AIP program. And by dismissing one airport out of the system, the county is subjecting itself to risk to not only the Whiteman Airport, but all 5 of the county airports. And at a time when you've watched in the news the commitment by the federal administration to modernize the air traffic control system, investing billions of dollars that have been committed through Congress, you cannot modernize the air traffic control system without preserving and protecting the access to the airports in which the air traffic control system serves. Whiteman is a critical component to the Southern California region. Besides the neighborhood groups in Pacoima and around the region that have supported keeping it open, the Van Nuys Airport Citizens Advisory Council has also expressed their concern in making sure that Whiteman stays open so that that airport serves that community. Because when you close one airport, as we've noticed over the many years in Santa Monica, those airplanes don't just go away, they get redistributed to other communities. Environmentally putting pressure on other communities to absorb the traffic, where in this case, LA County is looking to reroute it to somewhere else.
Okay, we have a question from Sid Garcia, KABC. Can commissioners demand federal funds to be released to make improvements?
The commission itself is advisory. The county supervisors and the county itself is the airport sponsor. So they have the direct relationship with the county. It's also important to know that the airports, the 5 county airports, operate independently from the general fund. They operate as an enterprise fund, not relying on tax dollars. And the request for federal funding and to apply for grants to receive that funding would come from the county directly.
We have another question, NBC4, Jonathan Gonzalez. Can the county board vote as a whole to unfreeze the funds?
Dennis here, and I don't have the answer to that.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that. It has been long asked why the county board wasn't involved in the motion or statement to Public Works to deny federal funding to Whiteman. But I would certainly say that the board has the authority to vote on anything regarding a county asset.
The county board has the authority to direct Public Works to apply for the federal fundings and the grants. They've taken that, they've stopped that process by not wanting to accept the grants, thinking that they're terminating the grant obligations and therefore not being obligated.
And Dennis, just to clarify, so what you were saying just now is that you didn't understand why the rest of the board was involved in one county supervisor's decision to freeze the funds, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And the other thing that I will add to this is we have identified at the commission level $18 million of upgrades that are needed in the next 6 years. And those funds are not available due to this mandate. We have specific things like runways, taxiways, aprons, pavement is a primary. There's signage that needs to be done. And we have with the Community Action Committee that was put together for 2 years and came back with a recommendation of closure. One of the tenets of that was to move the run-up area, and that just doesn't happen overnight. We are reviewing that with the FAA. That costs money. And that is something that could be funded by federal funds to move that run-up area to the center of the airport and away from homes.
Christina, if I'm not mistaken, the commission members, I think during your tenure, actually asked and suggested that the power lines be routed underground, and that investment could have been funded by federal funds.
That's correct. And we showed and have emails that show we were talking about undergrounding the wires and asking for those wires to be undergrounded years ago. Kurt or Dennis, or are there any other, as we're waiting for any final questions, are there any other main points that you want to make that you think it's really, really important for the public to understand?
I would certainly add that in my 23 years on the commission, and by the way, I don't speak for the whole commission. These are answers and statements made as an individual. But my observation is, Kurt mentioned earlier, we are operating under an enterprise fund. What does that mean? It means that we have to raise our own dollars. We don't take a dime of tax money to run these airports. We collect revenue in the form of rents and fees, appropriate fees, large, what we call fixed base operator contracts for running businesses. Those are our sources of income. Never in my 23 years on this commission have I seen 1 penny of taxpayer money being used for the airport until now. And that's the $1.9 million that is being spent on the study for closure.
Christine, I would just add that airports are like freeway on-ramps and off-ramps. It's an access point into this region in the community. And when you close an on-ramp or an off-ramp on a freeway, we all know what happens. You're redirecting that traffic somewhere else and creating other congestion and relocating those issues. At the same time, there's 5,200 public airports in the country. And preserving the access to those airports is a critical mission for NATA, to preserve the economic health and the viability of what that airport provides, besides just light flight training or flight activity. It serves as a regional support base, as Christina mentioned earlier, in the event of a natural disaster. And I don't think we need another one to demonstrate its value. So I would encourage us to look at what might be really going on here. Is it really about repurposing the airport for some other reason, for possibly housing or commercial centers? And I believe county supervisors have gone on record to actually say that they would like to repurpose the airport possibly for low-income housing. And so when you might lose the airport from the standpoint of being a nice space, the congestion and the other safety concerns that would come from the repurposing would cause, potentially more aggravation to the neighborhoods who have identified the airport and support it.
Yeah, Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez has recently gone on record saying that she would like to look at affordable housing as an alternative for the airport site. And Kurt, can you talk about the domino effect of closing Whiteman, which is one of the few profitable airports within the county system, which therefore upholds and helps maintain the opening of other airports within the county?
Well, not only the county, but the region. So if you were to close Whiteman Airport, those airplanes again aren't going to disappear. They're going to get relocated to the 4 other county airports. By losing the most viable economic airport in the county, you're going to put more economic stress on the other 4. And at the same time, you're going to put potential stress in communities of the areas of Burbank, Van Nuys, Camarillo, and other airports that would absorb this traffic. And it's really, through this conversation here, it's really beholden on those neighborhood groups to speak up too, to express their concern on why Whiteman should stay open and not redirecting that traffic somewhere else.
Christina, if I may add, there are nearly 500 airplanes at Whiteman Airport, and Burbank doesn't want them. And Van Nuys neighborhood groups have come out to state that they do not want them over their homes either. So where do they go? And the closest opportunities are in San Gabriel Valley or Lancaster. And, there's a Latino Pilots Association that just pours their heart out, stating clearly in their own language that they have come to this country to fly because they wanted to, because they couldn't do that in their country. And it's such a passionate group of pilots that have reached their dream and are succeeding at what they do, that it's hard for me to fathom that we would ever close this airport with the opportunities that it makes available for local pilots, local communities, and look at the 13,000 kids that have been flown.
Yeah. And then for the media on this call, we can put you in touch with the Latino Pilot Association as well. I know we have Univision. They did a great profile on them on Friday. So if anyone's on this call and wants to be put in touch with them, let us know. They could even take you up in a plane if you want to. So let us know. I think it's been a good news conference. And if there's not any more questions, we can end it. And we appreciate everyone coming today. So if there's not any more questions, that will be it. So thanks a lot, everyone. We appreciate you and everything that you do. So, I think there's one more question. Okay, Jonathan Gonzalez, NBC4. Can you please clarify how the county can even study closure if it must legally stay open? Great question, Jonathan. Who wants to take this? Can you please clarify how the county can even study closure if it must legally stay open?
As we've noted, when an airport takes a grant, they come with 20-year obligations. In the case of Whiteman, not only do they have the 20-year obligations to remain open, which means that you would not start the actual pursuit to even try to close the airport until those grant obligations expired. But in the case of Whiteman, they used federal money to acquire land for safety-related purposes. And under those terms of the FAA, that the airport must remain open in perpetuity. And that's a unique feature that the FAA empowers because they're using federal monies to help acquire land to preserve the airport. So while I think the question is a very good one, the county's dismissing the FAA's jurisdiction in a regards. They believe it's local only. It's not a federal preemptive issue, which we disagree with. And they're moving down this path to put themselves at conflict with the federal agency.
And Jonathan, that's the same exact question that we as commissioners have been asking. How can they waste millions of dollars of taxpayer money to examine closing an airport that legally they're not able to close? Kurt laid out some of the, intricacies, legalities behind it, but essentially, Whiteman Airport is obligated to remain there in perpetuity per the FAA because of the grants that the airport's accepted for safety in the past.
Read the FAA letter back to the county regarding Whiteman, and it clearly states that the only reason the FAA would be interested in closing an airport would be if it was for the betterment of aviation. You don't have those options in the Los Angeles area with the density that you have to have an alternate airport to go to, and that's the case here. So the question is valid. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, we'd love for the board to answer that question as well.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Good. No?
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
I
Okay.
really do appreciate you listening to our story. It's been a long saga, about 6 years. We have work to do. We have safe airports that we want to have, and we need to move forward on this.
All right.
Okay, thank you all. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Take care. Thank you.